Oculus has been a pioneer in VR gaming, but now they're investing more on the cinematic side of their headset world. Right now, it's the Oculus Rift, but of course, we've seen the Crescent Bay starting to be in the works. And so now they're focusing their attentions on Oculus Story Studio, which they announced at Sundance, showing a commitment to that side of the business.
Yeah, this is a really interesting move, but not totally unexpected, I think, from Oculus. I mean, Facebook owns Oculus now. They paid a princely sum for Oculus.
$2 billion.
Two Instagrams. They paid 2 Instagrams for Oculus. And I find this very fascinating because it's obviously sort of a next step in entertainment, but I don't think it's the next step in entertainment. I don't think this is going to replace anything. It's just going to be sort of an added, not necessarily a fad, but just sort of an added way to watch. So another screen that we can use to consume entertainment. And so I really like that they're going to be making these short films. They had a handful of them at Sundance. I think they had one called Lost. And then they said that potentially, like, a lot of them are just sort of made for VR, but not interactive. But they said at some point they wouldn't mind trying to do things where if you're watching a movie, you're actually interacting with certain parts of the film. So nothing that would change, you know, the main storyline, but maybe you could interact with items that are around you or whatever.
That's interesting. I mean, I've watched a short VR film before, Kaiju Fury from New Deal Studios and Stan Winston. It was not on the Oculus. It was on cardboard with Samsung, powered by Samsung. And it was really cool because I got to, like, well, when you probably looked at me doing it, it was like a dog chasing its tail because I was looking around the whole room, trying to figure out what was going on because you could hear all these different sounds. It's really cool, though. It's very short form.
Yeah,
so I can't see using this for more than 10 minutes.
I would say 15 would be like the longest out you could probably go without people really getting, well, it depends. I mean, without getting disoriented, but then you have people who now that Oculus has sort of removed that screen door effect from the Rift, it sort of seems like maybe we'd be able to do longer form content that I don't know if we could sit through a 2.5 hour long movie unless it was presented in such a way that we've seen, which is a movie theater. So you put your headset on and you're in a movie theater and then you just look up at the screen. I
think that's what they did with this particular project.
Yeah.
Where it was like you were pretending to be in a theater watching something, but then you're immersed in it.
They've done that. They've showed off something like that before, and now I think they're trying to move into producing short films that are like super immersive, 360-degree technology. I love that. Even though they have a small team of about 10 people, they've got people from Pixar, formerly Pixar, Lucasfilm. I mean, they're not messing around with this. So obviously they feel there's a lot of potential and a lot of entertainment to be had in the future with this type of screen.
So you said off the top that this is not the game-changing event for the virtual reality or for cinema or the future of filmmaking. But we do see these heavy hitters mixed in with this. So where do you see this going?
Like I said, I think this is really another screen from which to view or consume entertainment, whether that's gaming or video conference calls or whatever it is that you are, interested in experiencing on Oculus Rift. I think this is going to be another screen that you can enhance your experience with. So I think gaming is obviously going to be the big one.
Are people going to be like buying this who weren't buying this before, or not so much? This is just more to justify maybe the expenditure for the original gaming purpose?
I think so. I think that it's an expansion of the original gaming purpose, and I think Facebook definitely doesn't want to pigeonhole Oculus as only a gaming company. And they definitely want more out of Oculus, and I think there's a lot of potential there. I mean, we've talked about on my show, we've talked about Oculus or virtual reality in general giving museum tours. So you put on your Oculus Rift and you go on a tour of the Louvre.
I would love that.
Because you can't go to France, you can't afford it, or maybe you can't. Maybe you have health problems and you can't do something like skydiving. Well, maybe you put on an Oculus Rift and you can experience it without actually going through those motions or, paying for it otherwise. So there are a lot of experience-based things that can also be extended to Oculus and virtual reality in general that I think are really exciting for people who are not necessarily gamers. And so for me, this is the first step towards all of that kind of exploding and getting more people who wouldn't necessarily originally be involved or interested in getting an Oculus when it comes out for consumers totally interested in saying, I need this day one because I got to check this out.
Well, I already feel like it sounds more appealing once you say the experiences element. Yeah. Disneyland has something similar to that, to their Sleeping Beauty walkthrough.
Yeah.
You have one room with like a screen where you do a virtual walkthrough. Honestly, not very impressive, but maybe if it were a VR helmet
and you didn't have to pay to go to Disneyland.
And you didn't have to sit in that room and still hear the screaming children.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be even better. I'm into that. I think that's a great idea. Audience, would you be interested in watching more films using VR technology? Not necessarily Oculus, Crescent Bay, but VR technology. Let us know below in the comments, and please be sure to subscribe.